Good afternoon, and we're in Hartwood, Virginia, on a little lake called Walden Pond. Not the famous Walden, but in any case, Walden Pond. And trying to get close to the swans who are swimming here, a few mute swans. Up by the monastery, we have trumpeter swans, but the mute swans are much more graceful and large. I wanted to answer one or two questions, and I thought drifting idly on Walden Pond might be a good place to make a short video. If we only have 10 minutes that we can shoot, or 9 minutes, 9.5 minutes. Someone had written asking me something about the Beatitudes and then added, why is Christ so harsh about a person who calls someone else a fool? That he says you're in danger of hellfire. It doesn't seem like such a serious thing. St. John Chrysostom mentions that, and he said the problem is that when we call our brother a fool, we're reducing him down to the outer appearance and depriving him of his entire personhood, because we're, in our view, reducing him down only to the external part that we see in some kind of behavior. And of course only Christ, only God is capable of seeing beyond the surface, seeing into the depth of the person. And to reduce a person down to the externals is really a very great sin. We have to remember that when we talk about sin and heaven and hell and these things, we're really talking about relationships again. As the 25th chapter of Matthew's Gospel, of course, the most famous place where this is made absolutely clear, nevertheless, we have to remember that everything in the faith is ultimately about relationships. Alienation from God, alienation from our neighbors, alienation from our brothers and sisters, and alienation even from our own selves. So what Christ is speaking about here when you call your brother you fool is that you're making his external action the sum total of his entire personhood. And you've become alienated from him and really denigrated his whole inner person. So this in St. John Chrysostom's words, I thought, is precisely why calling your brother you fool is so grievous. I realize that Christ used some strong terms for the Pharisees, but Christ is God, and he could see the entire inner workings of the people, and he was really trying to awaken them to know themselves better and to see who and what they actually were, as only God could do. But we're not God, so we can never see beyond the surface of the person, and we always judge superficially on the surface. And when we do that, we really reduce the person from the fullness of their humanity into just an external behavior, and not just their external manifestation, but our interpretation or our understanding of their external manifestation. So we go well beyond the limits of what we're capable of actually doing. And it's this seeing just the surface of a person and reducing them down to the surface, to the external, is what the sin is really all about in calling our brother thou fool. So again, we have to stop and think about relationships and what our relationship becomes with a person when we call them a fool. This is, again, one of the pre-Socratic philosophers, I don't remember which one. At one time, somebody told him, it's very difficult to find a wise man in our day. And the philosopher replied, oh, but that's because only a wise man would know a wise man. And this is perhaps only a fool knows a fool. So we need to really be careful about what we say, judging from the externals of another person and how we reduce them down to our interpretation of their behavior at any given moment, because we then alienate ourselves from them and so alienate ourselves also from God. And we need to repent of it to our brother and repent of it to God.